I'm willing to bet you have a pair of jeans in your closet right now that you haven't worn in like months. So today, we're gonna fix that. I'm gonna show you how to turn a pair of old jeans into a custom pleated miniskirt to show off your personality and edge. Hello everyone, I'm Pinkzilla and this is Pinkzilla Designs. And today, we're gonna turn these jeans into this skirt. This was my first upcycling project, so please forgive me if this footage isn't that great. I did this in the college library. But the supplies that you're gonna want for this project is jeans, of course, some extra scrap fabric, pins, a steam iron, sharp fabric scissors, a seam ripper, a sewing machine, and optionally a Dremel. Now, let's get into it. Before I put scissors to fabric, I like to sketch out my design to get a solid idea of what I'm doing and where I'm going. So for this design, I wanted it to be Y2K inspired, and I wanted the main motif to be stars, and I wanted it also to be very grunge, so super distressed and like disheveled, but in like a cunty way. First step is to cut the jeans, and I want some maximum miniskirt action. I want all the moms to be clutching their necklaces, so I'm gonna measure just below the zipper, which for me was about 6 inches, and I measure from the waistband so you can see that the final band kind of has this curve to it. These jeans also didn't fit me anymore, so I had to take in the edges, so I got a pair of shorts that do fit, laid them on top, and marked on the seam with some chalk about how far I needed to take it in, and just took that over to my sewing machine with a straight stitch. So after we cut off that denim band, we're left with 2 legs of scrap fabric. I went ahead and chopped those 2 legs into 4 long panels, and let's use those to make our pleats. You can measure out the pleats if you want to be exact, but my new favorite pleating method is the fork method. You just get a little fork, you twirl it over once, and then you pin and iron that pleat into place. It goes so much faster, and you can hardly really tell the difference between this and like traditional measuring everything. I know it sounds fake, but I swear it is a lifesaver. Also, when you're ironing down these pleats, make sure to use steam with the maximum setting that your fabric can handle, because we want these pleats to survive the apocalypse, or like twerking at the club. Once I finished pressing all the pleats into place, I did a quick basting stitch across the top of them so that they're not going to fall apart in our next step. Okay, I forgot to film this part, but I just put the plate band underneath the denim band and stitched them into place with like a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I don't know, it doesn't really matter. It's okay if your pleats weren't super even. I mean, I accidentally made the back of the pleats the opposite of the front, but like, who's gonna look? Also, why are you looking at my butt? So after it was stitched down, I cut into that seam allowance with my scissors, like every couple of inches or so, and then I used a mix of like my fingernails. I mean, they're really short right now because I kind of burned my fingernails off doing too many homemade acrylics. So my fingernails and a seam ripper to distress that edge and get that fluffy look. I had the worst hand cramp after this. Let's spice up the back pockets. I seam ripped the back pockets off and I drew a star shape onto it. I then used my Dremel to carefully go back and forth and wear away a shape of the star into the denim. I created this super cool distressed window effect. So after that, I layered some contrasting fabric behind it so that the pocket is still functional and like I'm not gonna get everything tangled into it every time I use it. Honestly, this took so long that I kind of only did it on one pocket. So for the second pocket, I just threw a patch on it. But speaking of patches, this is how I made them. I grabbed a bunch of scrap fabric that has a similar color scheme, and I kind of just laid them on top of each other, stitched them together, and then cut out star shapes out of it. I don't know, you're just gonna have to watch. I just went with the flow. I also made a little ruffle strap on the front for some extra visual interest. So after I made about 13 patches, I just pinned them on the skirt to get a visual idea of what I was working with, moved them around until I was satisfied, and then it was time to stitch them down. I probably should have stitched the stars onto the skirt before I combined the skirt, but I was already in too deep. Continuing with that grunge look, I left all of the edges on the patches raw and exposed, just like me. Oh my god, that's too cringe, isn't it? I also didn't hem the bottom of the skirt for the same reason, to keep that distressed look, but I don't want it to completely unravel, so I did put in a straight stitch about a 1/4 inch away from the edge. And now we have a skirt. You see, that wasn't too hard, but this skirt feels kind of like a statement piece, and I don't know if I have any shirts to style it with. So let's make a shirt real quick. I found this plain gray shirt in my mom's closet that she probably isn't gonna miss. So I took that and I cut off the collar and a little bit off of one side than the other to give it an asymmetrical look. I put the shirt on inside out and pinned it against my body so my waist was snatched. Just put a straight stitch down that pin line and cut off the excess. Now I had 3 leftover patch stars, so I just put those on a line across my chest. This time I don't really want the raw edge exposed. I don't think that matches the shirt's vibe, so instead I used a zigzag stitch on the max width and a short stitch length to put these satin columns along the border, which also added this really cool outline effect. And now, only after a day of sewing, we have a complete look. This is a perfect statement piece to wear out to like a festival or a rave. That's what I made mine for, is like this local music festival. Actually, I made this skirt as a matching set with a pair of jeans for my boyfriend, but then he turned out to be super evil, so I didn't get any good pictures of the jeans and he threw them away. So for legal and emotional reasons, he's gonna be blurred, but those are what those jeans looked like. If you wanna know how I made those jeans? I actually do have a video, so comment below and I can make a part 2. So that's just a quick and easy tutorial. I hope that you felt inspired, and if you want more alternative upcycling fashion tips, make sure to follow me and check out my previous videos for more info. Bye!